Happiness or revenge? Have you been to the Grand Canyon? I hear the name comes from the grand prices that grand hotels charge in the area. I dare anybody to shake an audience with words with the same intensity you feel in the presence of the Grand Canyon. Likewise, it is impossible for me to describe the enormity of the love between my wife Luisa and I. Because words alone cannot make the listener feel the intensity of our love. We live for one another, and the other was the fantastic reason to live. Have you heard that generosity and kindness make you happy and the world a better place? It is accepting others the way they are. Have you ever been hurt by somebody? Did you remember how it feels? Right here, right now, I beg you to repay those who hurt you with kindness and generosity. It raises you above those who hurt you, heals the wounds, gives you peace, and makes you very proud of yourself. Shortly after losing my first wife, Beatrice, to cancer, I met Luisa in Tampa in 2009. She was beautiful. Funny, 24 years younger than I am. And we had something in common. She had lost her first husband to cancer a couple of years earlier. Luisa became my friend, confidant, mentor, inspiration, lover. And she gave me lessons in generosity. Do you know that some health insurance sales companies don't deal with honesty and integrity? Luisa worked with a couple of those, but her integrity made her leave them. How about you? Have you ever left a job because you couldn't agree with the way they did business? Eventually, she found a couple of sound organizations, and she did great. It was moving to see her determination to help her customers. I remember her telling Alvaro, I have to work past 3 in the morning to learn best practices, to prepare for examinations, or to find the best health insurance policy for a customer. Her kindness and generosity were a striking lesson by example. Luisa's daughters too green to grasp our love and too selfish to celebrate her joy, felt that I was a fraud, trying to steal their mother's affection. They accused me of being, "You are a dirty old man looking for a young wife to take care of you when you get older." That's like me looking for a wife to solve my health problems. That is crazy. It's like me saying, "Hey, my car is making weird noises. I'm going to start dating car mechanics." Ironically, it was Luisa who had health problems. She had a repeated cycle of bladder cancer, chemotherapy, remission. Bladder cancer, chemotherapy, remission. Oh my gosh. It went on and on for 11 years. Have any of you had a loved one suffer relentless health matters? Do you remember I said how much I loved her? Would your health issues stop your love? Of course not. At the beginning of 2021, we found she was at risk of losing her right kidney. She had 4 operations that saved her kidney. The second of Luisa's 3 daughters, Stephanie, who never helped with Luisa's cancer in 11 years, recently rented a house nearby, and Luisa and I were grateful that she was close and volunteered to help. The oncologist gave us terrifying news: more chemotherapy, and said, "I prepare a very aggressive treatment to kill the cancer cells before replacing the bladder with a section of the small intestine." Great. A cure. It was promising. But after the first infusion, Luisa became utterly ill, with pain, dizziness, nausea, and the nasty effects of chemotherapy. Have you been around people under chemo? Terrifying, isn't it? The pressure got to me. I felt dizzy, fell down, and hit my head in the fall. Very surprising. But the most surprise, the biggest surprise was that I had not even seen my friend Jack Daniels for a while. At the hospital, they told me, "Mr. Mejia, you have blood in your skull that must be drained immediately." and I had 2 brain operations. The doctor said, you recovered surprisingly well and fast. I was elated to be able to care for my wife as I had done for 11 years, all by myself. Soon after I arrived, Stephanie gave me horrible news. Alvaro, I've decided to take care of my mom. What would you do? What would you say? I exploded with anger. You cannot separate us. We need each other badly. Stephanie made this decision illegally, since it was mine as husband and first of kin. She stole my rights with total lack of integrity. What do you think about this abuse? Luisa was vastly affected by her chemotherapy, her fear of death, and my 2 brain operations. Luisa was not herself, and Stephanie took advantage of the situation. How would you react to such brutal abuse? Against all my protest, I will never understand why Stephanie never called me to help my wife Luisa, to prevent Luisa from feeling that her beloved husband had abandoned her. Do you believe that this merciless separation hurt Luisa's health? Stephanie's definition of love seems to be to tell others what to do and make their decisions. Stephanie's arrogance and brutishness are astonishing. I feel that what she did to her own mother is totally inhumane. Is this cruelty against nature? I struggle with what to do. Find legal advice. Call the police. And then the worst happens. A friend of the family called 1 month after the kidnapping to tell me that Luisa had passed away. How would you feel if this happened to you? Stress, depression, anxiety. Besides being badly ill, I was very, very angry. Stephanie, who never helped with Luisa's cancer in 11 years, used the occasion to play the hero in front of her family, walking all over my feelings and rights. What do you think about this vile cruelty? Luisa and I faced her cancer alone for 11 years with no help, no thanks from anybody, and did not deserve to be treated so ruthlessly by Stephanie with the approval of her family. Luisa's mother, who approved it, is the same woman that ordered Luisa to abandon her husband when he was dying of cancer some years ago. Luisa's mother has yet to learn to respect the sanctity of somebody else's marriage. Our prenuptial agreement ensured that Luisa's assets at wedding time would go to her daughters. Is it honest to include items purchased with my money long after the wedding as part of Luisa's original assets? Items with insignificant economic value but infinite sentimental value to me. Carolina, Luisa's youngest daughter, is an attorney and the executor of Luisa's will. She showed up at my home to tell me that she was removing all of Luisa's belongings, leaving me with no memories of Luisa's love. She and her sister Stephanie compounded their wickedness when they gave all my cherished memories to a charity instead of me. What do you think about these women? Luisa's ashes were legally mine and mine alone as husband and first of kin. It was tough to give away Luisa's most valuable legacy and the only thing that the executor could not take away from me: her ashes. I debated whether to take revenge or use kindness and generosity. I chose kindness and generosity. To repay cruelty and insensitivity with kindness and generosity was hard. The question is, happiness or revenge? I beg you to repay those who hurt you with kindness and generosity. It raises you above those who hurt you, gives you peace, heals the wounds, and most importantly, it makes you very proud of yourself. Thank you very much for listening to my story.